Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesdays in Bed with Keith. Sorry we missed last week, but things got a little crazy at work. So here we are again. It's a gorgeous day. And we just got back, Rob and I just got back from visiting with our friends Mike and JT in New Hampshire at their adorable lake cabin. And while we were there, we were shopping around the town. North Conway is a beautiful town, by the way, if you have the chance to go. And we went into this store and boom, I walk in and right in front of me is this little sign, which I actually bought and took home, that says, "Sometimes I open my mouth and my mother comes out." And I realized that that is actually very true. It's not just true about me. I think it's true about everyone, whether it's your mother or your father. Like my brother Dennis will never admit it, but he's absolutely my mother, our mother, because he will talk until he can't talk anymore. And she always did that. Like you would call her and she would start talking and you would put down the telephone and just go like take a shower and get dressed and maybe even vacuum the house. And then when you came back, she would still be talking on the telephone and you would just say, "Oh my gosh, really? Wow, look at the time." And she'd be like, "Oh my goodness, I have to go. Nice talking to you." And she would hang up. So anyway, that's basically, my brother Dennis. And we tease him about it. It's totally okay. We love him for it. But I was thinking about me and discipline because I am my mother when it comes to discipline. So even like my little nephew, Christopher, who I love, and my mother didn't have to hit us. And she actually didn't hit me. I mean, she might have swatted me on the backside, once in her lifetime or maybe even twice, but it wasn't like she, was always hitting us. So anyway, one time Christopher was away, we were up at the Cape and I was visiting them. They had rented a house and he was really misbehaving. And so my sister-in-law just was like sort of shaking her head. Maria just, she was like over him. And I went downstairs and I sat down with him and we were having a talk. And I was like, you really can't do that because, mommy is good to you and daddy is good to you. And you have to, do what they tell you. And he's like, "Well, I don't want to do what they told me." And I was like, "Well, you have to." And he was like, "Well, I really don't have to." And so I said to him, "Christopher," I said, "Here's the situation." I said, "You may not have to do what they tell you, but you have to do what I tell you because our relationship is not a democracy. Our relationship is a dictatorship. I'm the dictator. Go upstairs and eat your lunch." And he goes like running upstairs and he eats his lunch. And, like Randy and Maria were like, "What's going on there? Did he string him up or something?" Like, put a rope on him and pull him up the stairs. So anyway, that is so my mother. So when I was little, the movie Mary Poppins had just come out. And I loved Mary Poppins. I mean, who wouldn't love her? I mean, come on. She was dressed smartly and she could fly, which I loved. Like, I always wanted to fly. Like, that was my thing. And, she did little magic tricks and so on and so forth. So anyway, that summer, I think it was like maybe General Mills did this. If you save so many box tops, you get the official Mary Poppins spoon. And it was like this silver spoon with Mary Poppins sitting on the top of it. And I couldn't have been any more excited. So I ate so much cereal. Like I was like, "Mommy, we need we need like Cheerios. Mommy, we need Fruit Loops. Mommy, we need." So anyway, I ate all my boxes of cereal and we mailed off the box tops and the $1 or whatever it may be. And sure enough, the Mary Poppins spoon comes and I'm so excited. Now every morning is a gift because I get to use my Mary Poppins spoon. So I go for a haircut. And I wasn't a good little boy. Like I was one of those kids that I hate to cut right now. And so my mother, they sit me in the chair and he puts the thing around my neck. And I hate anything around my neck because I swear I was strangled in another lifetime. And so I am squirming in the chair and I look over and my mother is reading a magazine and she's just like this. And the more I squirmed, the more... And so anyway, I was starting to like hyperventilate a little bit. So we get out into the car and I sit in the back seat and those are the days where kids didn't have like seat belts or car seats. So I get under as far as I can, like on the floor and I stick my little legs under the seat and I'm trying to protect myself. And she's just driving home and she's like, "What do you want for lunch?" And she's talking very calmly. And I'm thinking, this is crazy because why isn't she hitting me? Or why isn't she like threatening me? Like, it's not like her not to threaten me. And she's just like, she pulls in and she goes, go play. And I go play and she goes into the house. And I'm thinking, wow, did I get away with that? Woo! All of a sudden the front door opens up. And she comes out and I'm up in the weeping willow tree playing, climbing. And she says, come down here. And I was like, what? And she goes, do you know you were bad today? And I was like, I didn't want my hair cut. And she goes, but do you know you embarrassed me? There's a difference between being bad and embarrassing me. And I was like, well, I didn't want my hair cut and you made me go get my hair cut. And she takes her hand from behind her back and she's got the Mary Poppins spoon. And she literally takes the spoon and she goes like this. And she throws it on the ground and she looks at me and she goes, the next time you'll sit still. I start screaming. And I go running into the tree and she goes just walking away like nothing had happened. Like it was just any other day in her life. And yeah, she didn't care that she just destroyed everything that I ever dreamed of. Like, shattered. So I go running up the tree and I'm up in the tree and I'm crying and crying. And I can't believe I'm looking at the spoon that's all bent in a U shape on the ground. And my dad comes home. I could see his truck coming up the street. And he goes into the house. And then like 5 minutes later, he comes out of the house and he's like, come here. So I go down and I'm like, Daddy, she broke the spoon. And I'm holding the little spoon crying. My tears are hitting the spoon. So anyway, he's like, did you misbehave? And I said, I did. And he was like, well, I can't defend you if you misbehave. He's like, you have to be a good little man when you go get your hair cut. He goes, that wasn't fair to mommy. Oh, my spoon. So anyway, a couple of weeks go by and, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, it's time for another haircut. And I go and I just sit there like this. Like I wouldn't move. Even this thing choking me, I wouldn't move. So we get home and my mother's like, go play. And I was like, okay. And I go running around and play and so on and so forth. The next morning it's time for breakfast and we sit down and all of a sudden inside my napkin is a Mary Poppins spoon. And I'm like, what? And my mother and father said to me, when you behave, you get rewarded. And you behaved. They must have eaten like 20 boxes of cereal within like the month to get that spoon. I'm just saying. So I never forgot that story because they did not have to hit me. Like they hit me where it counted, not on my backside. And I sat still every minute for a haircut ever since then. But it also made me think of kids who I cut today. And I'm like, sit still or I'm going to break your Mary Poppins spoon. But anyway, the good news is with today's technology, we can do anything. And so Mary Poppins spoon got lost many, many years ago, different, moves and whatever, cleaning of the basement. But I went on eBay and I am happy to say that Miss Mary Poppins is back in all her former glory. And she gets polished every week. So I guess the moral to the story is we all are some aspect of our parent. Use it wisely. And when necessary, reward yourself.